Welcome back to the masterclass of Dr. Bartler. Today I would like to introduce you our class 550.8.3, which is an optimized workstation for closing long seams, for example like trouser side seam, inseam, skirt side seams and others. The machine is equipped with a double chain stitch sewing head of class 173, 14, 16, 10. So the machine head has the specialty that we are offering here the intermittent working puller feet. The optimized workstation here is offering a special shaped table which helps guiding the material while sewing process. The machine is equipped with the Duck Eco control box of Dr. Bartler, and for guiding the material we are offering here a pneumatic switchable contour guide which helps separating the two layers of material. We offer a pneumatic edge guide or a mechanical adjustable edge guide or a pneumatic switchable edge guide. Means this is here an optional part. If I do not take the mechanical part, I would like to use a pneumatic switchable one. This is available as an option. Special and new on the machine is our new sewing equipment for secured seams, where we switch and convert the machine into a twin needle machine. So that means we are, instead of using one needle, we are using two needles, and the distance from one needle to the other is only 0.4 millimeter needle distance. So the advantage here is a seam like this can be stitched for side seam inseams, and if we iron the seam out, it feels like it is only a single seam, but due to the double seam, we have a very safe, a very secured seam, so nothing can happen, no seam can break here. The product video is available on our homepage, on YouTube, everywhere in the internet. So here we are showing now the class 550.8.3, our optimized workstation with the sewing head of 173. We use this optimized workstation for any long seams, long closing seams like trouser side seam, trousers inseam, etc. So the operator starts stitching, insert the pneumatic contour guide here, and best case, she's stitching non-stop till the end of the seam, cut the thread manually here by this knife, and by using this curved and special shaped table, the trouser will move to the left side of the machine, and she can use a bundle carrier or anything to load the trouser to the left side after stitching. In case of a side seam, the operator is stitching over the pocket area without this pneumatic contour guide, because this would maybe create a little problem in guiding. So you can see here, operator is stitching constantly without stopping within the seam. This is very important to have a nice flat seam here. The puller helps to get a flat seam because it is an intermittent working puller, so that means it is not continuously pulling on the fabric, it is stopping while the needle is inside the material. I will explain this later a little bit. So we have this mechanical edge guide to help guiding or to help keeping the seam margin of 1 centimeter in the area of the pocket or in the starting point. And afterwards, as soon as we use this pneumatic contour guide, the pneumatic contour guide will take over the part of keeping the margin of 1 centimeter. So to switch in and out this contour guide, we have a second pedal on the machine, and we use it with the pedal, with the foot pedal to switch it in or out, depends in which area of the seam we would need this. Here we see a production video, and the operator here use the pneumatic contour guide below the pocket, absolute correct. She stops one time in the middle, but at the end, while stitching, she switches off the contour guide, which is absolute correct, and finish the seam in one shot. Okay, so that was our product video. Let's continue with other features on the machine. So the machine is used typically for trouser side seam and inseam, as I mentioned before, skirt side seams, center seams or sleeve seams in jackets. So we talk about long seams in general. The performance, for example, for a trouser, if we would do only side seams, we would have a performance of 1,100 to 1,200 seams in 8 hours working time. And for inseams only, we would have a performance, because of the shorter seam, 1,300 to 1,500 inseams in 8 hours working time. If I make a combination of both, we can have approximately between 340 to 380 complete trousers, means 4 seams per trouser in 8 hours working time. This depends always a little bit on the material. So now coming to the special feature of our puller feet. I think Dürkop Adler has far the best puller machine in the world, because we have a special puller feet system where we offer a very close distance from the needle to the puller. Here we talk about a needle or a distance of 28.5 millimeter only. We are using a special shaped sewing foot here to come even a little closer to the needle, and this has the advantage that we are acting while stitching and not reacting. What does this mean? If this is my needle and this is my puller, because we are very close to the needle, while the seam is done, we are with a close distance, we can act on every single stitch. Plus, the puller is working intermittent. What does this mean? The puller does make like cluck, cluck, cluck. So that means while the needle is inside the material, the puller will stop for a millisecond and will continue as soon as the needle is outside of the material. And the advantage of this is we are not pulling while the needle is inside the material, because if the puller pulls when the machine is in, the needle is in the material, we would get a little fullness, a little material bubble in front of the needle. We can imagine if I continuously pull here, I would get bubble of material, and then with the next stitch I would get this material inside the stitch, and then I get puckering in the seam. Our system will not pull while the needle is inside the material. It will stop for a millisecond and only pull, going on pulling when the needle is outside. And that's why we have a much better and much flatter sewing result on our machine. Okay, so this is the puller, special feature for the puller feet, and now let's continue with the special shape table. The advantage here on the special table is, you can see here we have a special curve here in this area and another curve in this area. So while stitching, the operator guides the material already to the left side, because here on the left side they have in general a trolley system to put the trouser after stitching. So it helps guiding the trouser to the left side, because here there is a trolley waiting and the ready-made trouser will be loaded on this trolley. So if you would not have this special table here, the trouser will drop behind the sewing table, and afterwards the operator would pull the trouser and you would stretch and stress the material. On our system, we already guide it to the left side, to the right side where the trolley is waiting. Okay, another special feature on our optimized workstation here is that we are using this pneumatic switchable contour guide. So we have the second pedal, we have seen it in the video, I will repeat it. So I'm using to switch in and off with the second pedal. So, and if I switch it in below the pocket, I finish my whole seam with this pneumatic contour guide till the end, and while stitching I can take it outside from the seam and it's not necessary to stop to take it out. Okay, so then we do have as an option available this pneumatic switchable edge guide. So this is available in case I don't want to have a mechanical edge guide here. I want to have free space maybe. In this case, I could use this pneumatic switchable edge guide. This edge guide goes down as soon as this pneumatic contour guide moves to the right. And as soon as I switch it into the seam, this edge guide will move up. I mentioned already in the beginning that we have now a special sewing equipment on the machine where we can convert the machine into a twin needle, and this is a tandem needle. So that means the two needles are not on the same level. They are a little bit displaced, I would say, and like a tandem, and this guarantees that we have first of all a very, very close needle distance of 0.4 millimeter, and due to the fact of this tandem position, we are stitching not on the same position, we are stitching one behind the other, and that guarantees if I iron out my long seams, it feels and it looks like we have only a single stitched seam, but we have the strength and the secured seam of a two needle machine. So to convert a machine, it's very important that you order a set of parts for converting from single needle to a twin needle machine. Plus you need the special sewing equipment, in this case E208, with a needle distance of 0.4 millimeter needle distance. So the advantages for the application, I just repeat. So we have a very easy handling compared to a standard machine. So with all the optional equipments, with all the standard equipments like the pneumatic contour guide, we have an easier handling, and due to the guidance of the material, we have constant seam margins. We have a much lower handling time because of all the helpers, because of the table here, which helps guiding the trouser to the left direction already. The puller helps to have a flat puckering seam, and the chain stitch, of course, has a much flatter sewing result. We have no material displacement because our puller is working absolute speed stable with the speed length or stitch length from the bottom feet. And the secured seam as a special topic is available with 0.4 millimeter needle distance. This is actually a very demanded application. Some customers, they are stitching 2 times to secure the seam. We can do this in one application only. Okay, that was the theoretical part of my presentation. Please follow me to the machine and I will explain you the practical part. So this is our class 558.3, the sewing head 173 with our special intermittent working puller feet here. The puller is working intermittent, means it's not running continuously. It is running according to the stitch length, like click, click, click. And while the needle is inside the material, the puller is not pulling on the material. And this guarantees a very, very flat sewing result. Beside this, we have standard-wise this pneumatic contour guide mounted on the machine. This contour guide separates the top and the bottom layer of material, and it is switched by a second pedal, very simple, in and out. So, and by using this pneumatic contour guide, I have the possibility to add a pneumatic edge guide from the top. And this pneumatic edge guide can be activated or deactivated like this, very simple. And if I would like to use it, I switch it down, and when I switch on my pneumatic contour guide, this edge guide will be lifted up automatically. So you see here, it's very comfortable for the operator, so they don't need to do anything while stitching because this is done fully automatic. Okay, good. So now I would like to say something about the shape table. So we have this special shape table here, and this table helps me guiding the material to the left side of my tabletop. Because in general I do have my trolley on the left side, so while stitching the trouser is already turned or guided to the left side, so I can easily load it on my trolley after stitching. I have prepared now two different materials. The first one is casual trouser, a casual trouser where we have done the overlock before, and now I'm closing the side seam here. So the first area of my side seam, I do have my pocket, and in this area I am using only this pneumatic edge guide. So the first area I am stitching till below of the pocket bag. Stop here, and then I am inserting the edge guide. So I just lift the top layer a little bit so the edge guide can enter into the material. To finish my seam, I match the material end and the long part, and now perfect would be if I stitch the whole seam through without stopping. So that means I start stitching here, the trouser is already turning here in the right direction, I'm stitching, finishing the seam, guiding my material, switch out my edge guide now while stitching and finishing the seam till the end. So, and now I'm pulling my thread over this edge, over this knife here to cut the thread ends. I'm sorry. So, if the thread ends are cutted, I could take my trouser and load it to my trolley. Now we have done a super nice flat seam on our trouser side seam. And the reason why we get such a nice flat seam is our puller feet, the intermittent puller feet. I have prepared for you now on the machine two different thread colors because this machine is equipped with our special sewing equipment with two needle, tandem needle for two seams, the secured seam. As you can see here, The seam is laying very, very close to each other, 0.4 millimeter. And this gives me the advantage if I turn the trouser from inside out. It feels like it is a single seam, but it has the safety of a double seam. Okay, now I would like to show you a second material, which is for classic trousers. So this is now a super stretch material, and the front trouser is with knee lining. I will do the same thing here. I will stitch the area of the pocket, stop there and finish the rest afterwards. So I'm loading my material, start stitching, finish till below of the pocket bag. Then I insert the pneumatic contour guide. I match my fabric ends, control the fabric in the middle, and then best case again I stitch non-stop without stopping while I switch off the contour guide. Okay, good. So this is our class 558.3. I hope you liked the presentation and looking forward to see you at our next masterclass. Thank you very much.